So we just met the Liuans? What would you call them? How would you pronounce that? Is it Liuans? Liuans? Huh. I don't know. Inazumans makes sense. One status makes sense. Liuans? Maybe. Anyway, let's see.
Traveler, Paimon, how are you? And who is this accompanying you?
You must be Calx. It's a great pleasure to finally meet you. I am the author of A Legend of Sword,
That was abrupt.
Forgive me. It's rude of me to introduce myself by my pen name when meeting in person. Please, call me Xinqiu.
Okay, so he drops the pen name. Interesting.
And you may call me Albedo, then.
Cool.
No. That would be most improper.
He doesn't want to reciprocate.
Why not? Seeing as we're both friends of the Traveler, it'd be more convenient for us to use our real names. Besides, we've already corresponded with each other many times before. In fact, I feel a bit self-conscious seeing you act so politely.
Nah, he's always like that.
It's not just you, Albedo. We haven't seen Xinqiu act this awkward before either.
You guys, it's certainly not good taste for you two to be teasing me like that. Oh, by the way, we happened to find a story from the poem hunt competition at the docks. I heard that you are collecting them.
Right, we did, didn't we? Oh, he did anyway.
Poem hunt?
That thing where we have to find pieces of paper with stories of the 5 Kasen? Venti found one, and then he was allowed to be a model for one of your portraits.
Well, that wasn't exactly how it went, but sure.
Huh? Oh, yes, that's right.
And I assume he does use
I
Xinqiu.
understand the story now. Thank you. It's very helpful.
Splendid. Though, I'm still piecing together the story myself. Would you kindly explain it to me in more detail?
Oh, wait. Is Albedo aware that we are hiding this from Xinqiu? I'm not sure.
If all of you are free, why don't we discuss this over a meal?
Well, about that.
Do you have other plans, Xinqiu?
No, not at all. Speaking of dining, Shimura's unagi chasuke is quite delicious. Would you like to go there?
Has he been to Inazuma before? It makes sense that he would have before the... How long has the lockdown decree or whatever it's called, the Sakoku decree been going on? I can't remember if that's ever been stated. It probably has.
Shimura's. Unfortunately, today is a bit windy. How about Uyu Restaurant instead?
Ooh. Oh yeah, windy because I guess it's out in the open, huh?
That's perfectly fine with me. But I must first unpack my luggage. Let's meet later at Uyu Restaurant.
Something's going on with Xinqiu. He wants to do something, or something is keeping his attention.
Something didn't quite add up just now.
See, that's the thing. That's the one thing I like about this game, right? They give you clues that lead you to conclusion just before they reveal said conclusion. Makes you feel smart.
Huh? No way! Paimon thinks we acted well together. Did we say something we weren't supposed to?
No, Paimon, I'm not referring to us. Traveler, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, okay. If he was suspicious, though, he can't have a hand in actually getting the stuff stolen, right? For some reason or other.
Huh? Xinqiu's suspicious? Hey, what are you two talking about?
Paimon, you read the poem, right? Although it may seem confusing to Xinqiu on its own, what if we read it together with a previous poem we found?
Yeah, it's true. That part hasn't played out yet, has it? We only have the story. The first story, we had the story play out for us, and then we found it. This time we found it, but we haven't had it play out.
Read them together? Let's see. Suiko lost Aoi no Okina's poem in a drunken stupor. So, Aoi no Okina recovered the poem and gave it to some mysterious person. Huh? Wait a minute. Could today's story be hinting that the one who stole the latest copies of A Legend of Sword is Xinqiu himself?
That does seem to be the hint. But why?
No way! That can't be right! Xinqiu only arrived in Inazuma this morning!
Oh, but he was asleep. Apparently. No, he was, unless I realized. Yeah, he was asleep. So that means he was awake the entire night previously. Could he have managed to get to Inazuma before that? It's possible.
And that is precisely the point of suspicion. If Xinqiu had only just arrived in Inazuma, how could he recommend Shimura's Chazuke?
Yeah, that's why I wondered if he'd been here before.
Moreover, he didn't raise any questions when I suggested another place because of the windy weather. This means he knows that Shimura's is an open-air restaurant.
Nice. Albedo is already, digging in there.
Are you saying that Xinqiu has already been in Inazuma for some time? And that he's only pretending he just arrived?
That would make sense. I mean, Beidou has a, route to Inazuma, right? But it wouldn't surprise me to know that, Xinqiu's company has one as well.
Yes, that is indeed my conclusion.
But how could Xinqiu be the book thief? His mission is to fight for justice, isn't it? There's no way he'd do something against his own ideals.
Yeah, there's a reason. Just want to figure out what it is.
Calm down, Paimon. Even though this is the first time I've met Xinqiu in person, we've communicated via letters for some time now. I do have some understanding of his character. I think there must be some deeper motive at play here. The story also tells us that Aoi no Okina flees with a poem because of a threat.
Oh? Could Xinqiu be in danger?
Probably not direct.
It's difficult to say at this point. But given that Uyu Restaurant is indoors, it'll be easy for us to detect anyone following or eavesdropping on us. I think it should be safe for us to talk there. I'll be relying on your assistance to get to the bottom of this matter.
Oh, do we straight up confront him? That'd be
Good. Then let's head to Uyu Restaurant.
cool. Okay, let's go. Uyu is the place where, Miko took us, isn't it? Yep. That's the place where we lost our take on the, short novel we wrote. Light novel. Light novel is the word. Huh. I guess they are reusing this, it makes sense. They don't want to have to flesh out a whole new place for it.
I don't see anyone suspicious around. It seems clear for the moment. Let's go inside and wait for Xinqiu.
Oh, this whole thing's starting to make Paimon a little nervous. What do we do? And what do we talk about when Xinqiu gets here?
First, we must ascertain whether Xinqiu was already in Inazuma or not. If we can find evidence of him deceiving us, since we're still waiting
damn,
for him,
I skipped that.
why don't you go and chat with other guests in the restaurant and see if you can learn anything useful?
I clicked into the window again and yeah, my bad. Ah, damn, no, I don't know what was said there. God damn it. I was checking on the stream there real quick. Oh wow. I mean, this a small enough set of ideas there that we can figure out what's going on from just what happens, right? Oh, he's still in there. Well, wait. Okay, so he's sure something's up. Why do we have to talk to him? Wouldn't that be someone we wouldn't need to talk to right now? Let's talk to the owner first. Yeah.
Hello there. What can I get for you?
Hi! Do you have any special recommendations today?
Why, of course. I'd personally recommend our freshly caught seafood. It's been pouring these past few days, so the fishing boats haven't been able to sail at all. But the weather finally cleared up today, so we have some fresh catch.
That sounds like where I am.
So the weather at sea has been bad these past few days?
Oh, that's evidence. He's not gonna know about the storms.
It sure has. A few guests from Liyue were just telling me that their boat was heaving and rolling all the way here. They couldn't do anything but sleep the entire trip.
So he wasn't on that ship. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, this might be some useful information.
Because he's not gonna know that. I mean, most likely. Who does this one want to say?
The last phase of the Irodori Festival is when they release the all-new publications. The one I'm really looking forward to is A Legend of Sword.
That's right. A signed first edition is going to become quite the collectible. I've got to get my hands on a copy.
I've seen Genyu's signature before. His handwriting is super neat. He must be really diligent about his style.
He'll be there in person on the day of the release, so we'll get a good look at him then. I hear that he's actually pretty young.
Wait a minute. Did you just hear that? Not only will Xinqiu be signing novels at the release, but his handwriting is super neat.
Oh, so Xinqiu could be the one orchestrating all this. He could be the one writing the notes. Fair. Why is that on my... Yeah. Just Albedo's left. Why would I want to talk to him though?
Albedo, what should we talk about when Xinqiu gets here? Any ideas?
I will try to break the ice by talking about our work on novels and illustrations. If he really is hiding something, then he might feel even more nervous than we do. If we start by talking about our work creating novels, perhaps he will lower his guard.
Oh, come to think of it, Xinqiu mentioned that he'd like to thank you for finishing the illustrations on time. He said they looked amazing despite the time you had.
Is that so? That is also a very valuable clue.
Why? Oh, because he's seen them. They haven't been outside of Inazuma.
Please, talk to me if you want to order.
That was delicious. Inazuman cuisine largely consists of fresh seafood, which is certainly to my liking.
That's good. We were worried you might not have an appetite because you didn't sleep well. Now's our chance. Let's talk to Xinqiu and see if he says anything useful. Maybe we could start by asking him about the journey.
This is a higher quality cutscene, isn't it? This isn't in-game. Yeah, all these are pretty much the same, but we know he was supposed to have read a book,
By the
which he
way,
didn't,
Xinqiu,
right?
what book were you reading on the way?
Wait, so we make the choice and Paimon does it? That's a different one from usual.
Oh, I was reading a novel called Pretty Please Kitsune Guji. It was sent to me by my editor.
That isn't released yet.
Didn't you feel dizzy while reading on the ship?
It was nothing I couldn't handle. Don't forget, I'm proficient in the arts of the Guhua clan. That being said, there were quite a
he
few
knows.
people aboard
He knows
who
that,
felt seasick.
That there were storms.
Well,
Cool.
there doesn't seem to be anything suspicious about what he said so far.
Oh, okay, so we get to ask about everything, okay. Let's talk about general thoughts? Sure.
Well, I've never embarked on such a long journey before. Though I was quite excited when we set off, the long days at sea quickly became most monotonous.
I mean, this isn't really that useful either, because he will have have to make the journey at some point, right?
Speaking of the journey, did anything noteworthy happen along the way?
Well, to be honest, I spent most of the trip with my nose in a novel.
Well, that didn't tell us much.
Okay, there's one left.
To be honest, there wasn't much to see. Just water all around, morning to night. The sheer monotony of the trip caused everyone to grow a little impatient.
What's this telling us?
So, when the peak of Mount Yogo finally appeared in the distance as we approached the islands of Inazuma, everyone crowded the deck to have a look.
Hold on, no, the damn island, the Yogo is visible from Liyue. It's not gonna appear.
However, the ship sailed along at a crawling pace. It took a whole day from the time we saw the mountain peak to the time we docked.
Paimon didn't catch anything suspicious so far. Oh, right! If it took an entire day to reach the docks, then it would have been pouring rain at the time they saw the top of the mountain.
Okay, yeah, that's a reach. I wasn't gonna catch that.
We learned a couple of things from his account, but we still require more evidence. Let's discuss creating novels with Xinqiu.
Let's talk about the book first, right?
While it is entertaining to read novels, writing one is an endeavor of its own. You must give great thought to every detail, from the layout of the plot to the rhythm of the lines. And even when you have come up with interesting content, there's still no guarantee that it will be to your liking.
I couldn't agree more. Whether it's writing a book, creating art, or studying alchemy, seldom can you really feel joy after seriously delving into the work.
Xinqiu and Albedo are getting into some deep topics now. But nothing suspicious has come up.
Yeah, where's this going?
Speaking of illustrations, Albedo, I've long wished to express
right,
my
this is the thing
sincerest
that we have
gratitude for
on him.
providing the... My novel didn't sell
Damn it,
well in
keep doing
Liyue,
that.
so I must admit that I had some reservations regarding its potential.
Yeah, it's okay. That we know. We know that something is weird there because he knows about the illustrations and how they look, even though they only existed in Inazuma.
Yet you've consistently managed to select the most important scene of the chapter for your illustrations. This made me feel as though what I was trying to express could be understood after all.
Thank you. However, I took some risks in the illustrations, so I'm feeling slightly uneasy myself. Light novel illustrations are typically centered around the characters, but this time, I adopted a different approach in the illustration for the last chapter.
Well, that scene was intended to depict the change in the world, so I thought it very fitting to draw only scenery.
Yeah, see, he's seen them. Would... Huh.
Doesn't sound like anything suspicious has come up so far.
No, I think Paimon just missed that.
No, there was a crack in his alibi. My illustrations were sent for printing the moment they arrived in Inazuma.
Yeah.
So, logically speaking, there's no way he could possibly know what the illustrations look like.
No, but the thing is, yeah, maybe he was reading... He's looking through his own book. For the past few days.
Xinqiu, we have something very important to ask you now.
Oh? Why the solemn looks all of a sudden? Huh? I'm afraid I don't follow.
Mr. Okazaki told us earlier that actually the weather at sea was very bad these last few days. So when you said that everyone came running to the deck to see Mount Yogo, that couldn't have happened!
Okay, we're getting on to that first.
On top of that, the latest installment of A Legend of Sword will only be revealed at the Irodori Festival. Even we, the creators, haven't received a sample copy. And if that's the case, how could you know what my illustrations look like?
That's an easy plot hole, which he should have seen himself, actually. Strange.
Well...
The jig's up, Xinqiu. You were already in Inazuma before today, weren't you? Are you in some kind of danger but can't tell us the truth? Don't worry. The Traveler
I don't think
and
that's it.
Albedo are no pushovers. We can help you.
Something else is up. Something stranger.
No, please. You misunderstand me. I suppose my lack of sleep is inevitably taking its toll on my mind. I didn't notice for a moment that you were testing me at all.
Okay, there's a reason for it. The fact that he missed it all.
I did in fact come to Inazuma early to handle some things. Let me consider how to explain this. Oh, this is most embarrassing.
Oh, well, if this isn't a coincidence, I didn't expect to see everyone here.
I wonder if Albedo, well, I mean, Albedo knows, Venti, right? But I wonder if Genshin will not know what, Venti is, obviously, I guess.
Tone-deaf bard, what are you doing here?
I heard that the owner of this establishment has some fine-aged wines. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to taste them.
Paimon knew you couldn't possibly be up to anything good.
Says who? In fact, I come as the bearer of good tidings.
The books have been found, I bet.
I just bumped into Kujo Sara a moment ago. She said that the Tenryou Commission has apprehended the criminal who stole all those copies of A Legend of Sword. You needn't worry about it any longer.
Huh? The criminal who stole A Legend of Sword?
Did I say something I shouldn't have?
Oh no. The person they apprehended. Was it by chance an editor named Onodera?
Apologies, Kujo-Sara didn't mention a name. But I saw her taking someone toward Hanamizaka.
Everyone, it's too late to explain. We must make haste and rescue Onodera. Please, wait. Onodera is innocent.
Oh, so you must be the author of A Legend of Sword. I didn't expect to see others tagging along with you.
Anyway, you mustn't take him away. I can explain everything.
No need to worry, Xinqiu. I've just explained everything to Madame Kujo, and Kuroda has testified for me.
Alright.
Yes. In fact, we were just getting ready to leave.
Oh, phew. What a relief. Wait a minute. Does everyone else here already know?
Well, to be precise, we had dispatched 2 additional squads here, in order to prevent the suspect from escaping.
Xinqiu looks pretty flustered. What exactly is going on here?
Though it's most embarrassing, it appears quite a few people are aware of the situation now. There's no use keeping it a secret. In the end, I'm the one responsible for this whole predicament.
No, Xinqiu. It's only appropriate that I take responsibility for this. Everyone, please let me explain. For the Irodori Festival, I recommended the idea of selling newly released novels signed by the authors.
Okay.
Not only was this the first major project I was in charge of since joining the Yai publishing house, but Lady Yai also gave me a lot of support.
Ooh, he was the guy who was worried at when Yae Miko questioned him, right?
However, I did not discuss our plans with the authors in advance. As a result, it caused a great deal of trouble for Xinqiu.
Yes, to be frank, calligraphy is not my strong point, so signing events are really not my forte.
Even though such an event will be difficult for Xinqiu, after telling him how important the plans were to me, he immediately boarded a ship to Inazuma to come up with a solution. So these past few days, Xinqiu has been actively practicing his handwriting. However, it takes time to sign each book, and we realized the time we reserved for the signing was not nearly enough. So I came up with the idea of moving the new books from the warehouse to my place. That way, Xinqiu could use these few days to sign them all. I thought everything would work out without a hitch. I never expected that someone would immediately realize that the books were missing from the warehouse.
Why do it outside of major channels? I mean, he could have just told the other editor, right?
To make things worse, I was on vacation and staying with Xinqiu in my house these past few days. I had no idea that the situation had turned into such a huge mess.
Yeah, this is a weird one.
All of this happened because I wanted to prove myself through this event.
Onodera, I agreed to your proposal because I didn't want the readers to know of my unsightly handwriting. Also, I knew that Onodera had been misled by one of my prior signatures.
Oh, okay, so he wasn't the one writing those.
At a previous event,
Interesting.
the Yai publishing house had requested autographs of authors so that they could be put on display. I practiced tirelessly for an entire day to finally deliver a stylish and elegant signature for the event. But looking back on it now, I had dug myself into a hole by delivering that nice signature for the sake of my pride.
Hey, come on, you two. Loosen up a little. The theft was nothing more than a simple misunderstanding. Besides, everyone has something they do not wish others to see.
Yeah, that's right. All that matters is that Xinqiu and his books are okay.
This seems a little bit shallow for the event, no?
Onodera, I think you should explain the truth regarding the stolen books to the rest of the people on Rito.
Yes, I understand. I'll apologize to everyone.
We should probably be heading back to Rito as well. Let's tag along.
Who else knew about it anyway? Just the editing dudes, right? No one else should have known about it. Outside of, like, us. Okay, so there wasn't a fight, so I didn't get to use the team. Unfortunate. Oh well. This is a quick swap team, so there's no real DPS, so I guess Xinqiu could stay on field and attack. Not ideal though, maybe Zhongli could instead.
Onodera, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be on leave these few days?
I'm very sorry for all the trouble that I've caused.
Yes, Onodera, but why didn't you tell everyone earlier? If you had told us, we could have thought of some ways to help you.
That's right. We're a team, and we should be helping each other in tough situations like this.
Let's leave the past behind us now. Our first priority is to help Zhenyu with his signatures. How is your progress so far?
My progress is not what I had hoped for. Even after working through the night these past few days, I've only finished perhaps 1/10 of the signatures.
Oh, no wonder Xinqiu looked so sleepy today.
I understand. Murata, go back to Yae Publishing House and get Aratani to book a room on the 2nd floor of the Uyu restaurant. We'll be using it for Genyu's emergency calligraphy lessons.
Yes, Mr. Hirayama. It just so happens that my brother is a calligrapher. Should I ask him to lend his assistance as well?
Yes, good idea. Ah, you've just reminded me. 2 calligraphers from Liyue arrived today. We've worked with them before, so I'll go and ask them to help out too.
This seems like a whole lot more than you should need.
It seems I'm really in for it now.
Yeah.
No need to worry, Zhenyu. I'm sure you can do it. Didn't you finish the last chapter of your novel in just 1 week's time?
Yes, but writing novels and learning calligraphy are 2 entirely different skills.
Even though Xinqiu still has to deal with his handwriting issue, Paimon somehow feels a little relieved now.
I always used to prefer working alone in my workshop, but I've come to realize that solving problems with others also has its merits.
Is that the takeaway here? Really? Come on.
We also owe a special ode of gratitude to the mysterious person who has been leaving important info for us along the way.
Also, but that's not Xinqiu.
Huh? You mean whoever left behind those stories about the 5 Kasen?
Pardon me, but what are you talking about?
Oh, right. We haven't had a chance to explain things to Xinqiu yet.
I see. It appears that Onodera and I were spotted when we were moving the books. Albedo, may I ask you one thing? Are you able to include me in a portrait as well? Not only do I owe the successful resolution of today's incident to that story, but I also hope that I'll remember this lesson.
No problem. Considering the similarities between the portrait and the events that have taken place, your proposal is very reasonable.
I find it weird that was a request though. Okay, whatever.
That figure was none other than Aoi no Okina himself. This turn of events had begun with an unnamed individual, under whose coercion, Aoi no Okina was forced to take drastic measures to retrieve a page of poetry. He knew nothing of this individual's true intentions. All he knew was that the poem had to do with an old acquaintance, Akahito.
That looked like Shiro, whatever his name is. No? Probably?
Albedo really is something. He finished the portrait of Aoi no Okina in no time at all. Wonder how Xinqiu's calligraphy training is going at Uyu Restaurant. Hey, do you think whoever left those stories for us could be hiding somewhere nearby?
Most likely, in fact. I wonder who it is.
Oh, hello? Mr. Storywriter? Are you here? Could you please help Xinqiu with something?
Wait, I just made a connection. Akahito is gonna be Klee, isn't it?
He's a friend of ours, and the release of his new book is super important to him.
That's just a cat.
What's it
Yeah.
sound? It was just a cat. Looks like we can't make them reveal themselves that easily. It's getting late now. Well, let's go back and get some rest. We still have to
It
go
wasn't
to the
just a
docks and
cat?
wait for another ship tomorrow morning.
Interesting. Huh. Yep, this one's gonna be clean. The red's almost... There's a mechanicus day. Very nice. Okay, so we got that to do now. Okay, who is this, I wonder? Probably someone we... It couldn't be Child, right? There's no way. I mean, it could be, but... No, right? They're not gonna bring him here. I wouldn't put it past them. What's that? Am I a whale? No, I'm not a whale. I am a, what do they call it? I'm a tiny little baby dolphin. I buy the, battle pass every month, and that's it.
Look, that figure on the wall.
Kazuha! Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I buy Walken and, like, battle pass, and that's it. What's Kazuha doing here? So is he the red? Not clean?
Greetings, Traveler in Paimon. I heard there would be guides for the Irodori Festival, but I didn't expect it would be you two.
I mean, Kazuha doesn't need a guide, really. He already knows his way around here, right? He should, at least.
We didn't expect to see you either. Returning as a guest for the Irodori Festival, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, I wonder, does he actually have an invitation and whatnot?
I was a little surprised myself when I received the invitation. But after wandering the outside world for so long, it's good to have an opportunity to return to my homeland and pay respects to my old friends.
That is strange, though. I wonder who would have thought of him to send an invitation to. Not Sarah, right? Probably not. I don't think.
Kazuha, when we saw you in the distance just now, you seemed to be looking for something. What happened?
Ah, yes. You see, when I came off the boat with everyone just now, I suddenly heard light footsteps around me.
Another step in the Kazan thing. Probably found a letter as well, right?
I could tell they were not footsteps of a regular passenger. But by the time I turned around, the person had already disappeared. I only heard a splash come from below the pier.
Okay, so... We do know now that whoever this guy is putting clues everywhere, he is... corporeal. He's not some ghost or some shit. So... Yeah, what do I think of Paimon? She has her moments. She's kind of annoying sometimes, but sometimes she's fine. I can't really comment without seeming, you know, biased one way or the other. But it wavers from moment to moment. Yeah, okay.
Even though I didn't manage to catch a glimpse of them, I found this strange piece of paper by my feet.
Paimon's a villain. I know that theory, okay? I've thought about that theory and talked about that theory on stream. When, who was it? Someone... oh, it was that dude in Kanomiya, right? Who said that Paimon was going to betray us at some point. I had a long discussion about that at that point. So, yeah, I know that theory, definitely. But I don't know yet, I'm not sure. Let's see. Oh, so there was a piece of paper. Nice.
Does it happen to have a poem written on it?
Huh. How did you know?
I mean, even if this wasn't going on with Kazuha around, there'd probably be a poem on it, right?
Fascinating. It's almost hard to believe such things could happen. Sure, here it is. Please, have a look.
Okay, so third piece of the puzzle. What's this one gonna be? Akahito, right. I still think this could be Klee. Although now with him here, obviously, it's probably him. Long have I been famed, and since my youth I had great ambition. Scarlet Seal, known to all. Okay. So he stole the poem. Someone stole the poem. What happened? Oh, so it's not Kazuha? Huh. It's weird. Someone stole Kazuha's poetry. That would make sense, right? So not Klee now.
Last time, Aoi no Okina's poem ended with a reference to Akahito. And sure enough, this is a story about him. Story this time basically says that Akahito got his name from his love of red seals. However, the Shogun discovered that he had committed plagiarism, and he was soon exiled.
Wait, was that what it said? I thought someone stole his poetry, not he stole someone else's poetry.
Well,
Okay.
if Paimon were to rate today's story, it sounds pretty unfortunate.
Right, yeah, sure.
I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with this story. I too was
Oh,
once wanted as a
okay.
criminal by the
Okay,
Shogunate.
sure. I guess
So
you
I'm
could
not all that different from Akihito
you could
mentioned
draw
in
that
this story.
similarity between the two. Sure. It's not actually plagiarism in this case. It's him being a fugitive. Sure. Okay.
But according to the story, Akihito was exiled by the Shogun because of his wrongdoings. You did nothing wrong, Kazuha.
I mean, that's a matter of perspective, right? At the time, he was on the wrong side of the law. Fair enough.
Huh? Traveler, what are you thinking about?
The seal. What, instead of signing them, just place his seal on the books? That actually makes sense.
Ah, by the way, you mentioned that your friend has been struggling because he's unable to sign his name quickly, right? In Liyue and Inazuma, there is a saying, that which has been stamped has also been signed.
They are discovering new
Perhaps
technology.
using a seal could be a feasible solution. While sailing at sea, I sometimes carve things to pass the time. If you wish to create a stamp for his seal, I might be able to help.
Wow, that's an idea. Quick, let's go tell Albedo.
That is one solution, sure. That's the confusing one. What are they going on about all the time? Okay, where are we headed though? Back to, yes, the lodgings, right? I don't know, these stories, they don't really seem cohesive. They're all over the place.
Albedo, we figured out a way to help Xinqiu.
Interesting. A story of the 5 Kasen appears again, and with a timely solution.
That previous frame was actually quite well framed, with the Xinqiu right in the corner here, so you could see his painting while we talked about him.
Stamped seal, huh? Let me think. Indeed, it is an efficient solution. If we use a stamp, then Xinqiu won't have to struggle with his handwriting anymore. However, since Xinqiu's signature has been previously revealed to the readers, it would seem insincere if he only used the stamped seal for his new books.
I don't know, maybe carve his signature into the seal?
But I have another idea. Using a seal is a part of it, of course. Let's go to Ouya restaurant now to discuss my idea with everyone.
Sure. That's another thing though. I guess I am doing it all at once, right? Over the course of like 2 or 3 days. This was released over the course of an entire week, which means it would have actually been slower paced than I'm playing it. So maybe that's why it seems to be a little bit everywhere. Also, I'm not doing the mini quests or world quests or whatever you call them in between. I'll need to go back and do them. So maybe they piece together these a little better. I'll see. Because I do want to do Theater Mechanicus at least before we end today. Where is he? Upstairs? Sorry. Yep, they're up here. Alright, they mentioned that it was second floor.
That's it, Xinqiu. Your writing has greatly improved today, which means yesterday's intensive training was effective.
That just seems like he's scared. Oh,
My
man.
apologies, but I simply can't do it anymore. My hands are so sore that I can't even move them anymore. I should have known better than to read novels during calligraphy class.
Yeah, I can sympathize. Kinda sounds like me.
You just had a 10-minute break. Come on, you can do this.
When it comes to pushing a deadline, there's no one more brutal than Mr. Hirayama.
No wonder Lady Yai would always send the editorial director to handle troublesome authors.
Whoa, this is getting scary. It hasn't even been that long and Xinqiu's already zombified.
Mr. Hirayama, we found a solution that might just solve our dilemma. In both Liyue and Inazuma, seals are widely used as the equivalents of a signature. If we use a stamp to leave the author's seal on the books, then we could make the signature process a lot easier. Of course, a seal on its own is not enough. So, I propose that each signature consists of 2 parts. First, we'll use a personalized seal. We can simply carve one using Qinyu's signature as the design.
Right.
In addition, I'll also design a simple but elegant pattern that's easy for Xinqiu to write. That way, he will only need to draw a simple pattern on each book.
Huh, I see. So he does do something for every book, so it doesn't seem like he's just stamping it. Sure, okay, I can see that.
Let me think. All right, I think that would work. Not only does it still involve the author's own handwriting, but the result should be very beautiful as well.
So, what you mean to say is, I've been saved from this predicament?
Mr. Hirayama, it suddenly occurred to me that the reason we gave up on live book signings previously was because it would take too long for the author to sign each book. But if we adopted Calx's proposed method, we might have enough time to do signatures at the live event. And if all the authors signed their books in the same fashion, then Genyu's signature wouldn't look out of place.
If you think it's feasible, I would certainly be happy to design signatures for the other authors as well.
Yes, and you may leave carving the stamps to me.
In that case, I shall contact the other 2 authors participating in the new release event.
These are
It
unknowns,
is a
right?
great honor
Yeah,
to
pretty
use
much.
a signature designed by Calx.
My pen name is quite complicated and isn't suitable for signing events. However, if we implement this new format, then it'll be a dream come true for me as well.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right. Look at that name. My god. Kateno Koji Genzaburo. That is a mouthful.
Great! Looks like everyone's on board with the idea.
I'm sorry to have kept you busy for so long, Jinyu. Please, take the next few days to have a good rest. We'll handle everything from here.
The lighting in this game is weird sometimes. You see that? Damn.
The books that Jinyu already signed can be used as special prizes in future events held by the Eye Publishing House.
We did it. The event is saved.
Thanks to everyone's efforts, Onodera and I are finally free of that mess.
That's right! You're finally free, Xinqiu! Maybe you should step outside for some fresh air.
Let's get out of here. That's literally the next quest. Okay, sure. This feels like...
We still have some time to burn. Where should we go next?
These are interesting little pieces of inclusion, because you can see that it's rendered. It's not in-game, right? This is much higher fidelity than our in-game cutscenes. And they're making it so that we can control a little bit, which makes the future of these cutscenes much, much better than they've been previously.
Traveler,
Ayaka.
there you are.
What's she doing here? All right, her banner is here. She's got to be here, right? It's too bad I don't have her.
Oh, it's Ayaka! And Venti! That's an interesting combo.
No shit. That's actually a meta combo right there.
I was just going to the festival venue to prepare the Ikebana lesson when I found a strange piece of paper on a flower stand.
Right, she's blue. Awesome. Iroi, right?
This bar just happened to be close by at the time. He informed me that you've also found similar papers recently. As such, we
No,
came
not
together
Iroi.
to find you two.
Aoi. Yeah. That's more, yeah. I had that wrong for a second there. My Japanese is really rusty.
But the paper she found isn't quite the same as the ones we found before.
Hmm?
Here's the paper. Please have a look.
Sumizome. What's Sumi? I submerged the... Oh. That's interesting. There's something hidden on the old, the pages that we have.
Huh. All the poems we found before were roughly the same length. But this one is only 2 lines.
And even though there are only 2 short sentences, Neither of them are next to the title or centered on the page. The position of the writing seems to indicate that there is other content written on this paper besides these 2 lines.
Right.
If we take the poem literally, it reads, "Dip this paper in water and see the truth naturally appear." Speaking of which, I have an ancient text at home, specializing in ancient and exotic stories. It mentions a special ink that will show itself when wet and disappear when it's dry.
Yep. That makes sense.
Shall we give it a whirl? It just so happens that there's a pond nearby.
A pond. Oh, well, sure. I guess that works. Oh, we actually are using the pond. It's kind of cool. But what does that mean for...
It's really working! More words have appeared on the paper!
What does that mean for the rest of the piece of paper? Because they all could all have something more written on them.
Let Paimon see what it says.
Okay. Going over his poetry, I found the plagiarized piece did not have his scarlet seal. I submerged the verses into clear water and the truth did emerge. The true verses were not washed away, but the text of that despicable crime faded. Aoi no Okina passed me by just as he was writing a verse for Akahito. One storm had yet to settle, and it was already time to write new poems. Okay, so it is Ayaka, right? But I don't want to think about this damn. Just tell me what it means.
Story says that after Sumizomi got the collection of poems from Akahito and put them into a stream of water, the plagiarized words in the poem became blurry. Huh? Why would that happen?
Oh, it was forged. Okay, nice.
You see, Paimon, in the past, when printing was not yet well developed, handwritten text could easily become smudged in books when exposed to moisture. To ensure the text lasted longer, they'd either write using a special ink or coat the paper's surface with a waterproof coating once the writing was finished. Such special inks are time-consuming and laborious to produce, and the waterproof coating could also prove just as difficult. However, since Akihito's poetry collection was an important gift to be presented to the shogun, surely one of those 2 methods was used to protect it. But as for the plagiarized poems, not only would they lack Akihito's seal, but the words would also react differently when exposed to liquid.
Which means Akihito didn't plagiarize his work. He was set up!
Yes, it appears that this is the truth that Sumizome's story is trying to convey.
Alright, so now it's much more Kazuha. Sure.
Although the story is saddening, I've decided on the subjects to use for Akihito and Sumizome's portraits.
Akahito I can see. Sumizome? I don't know. Aoi should be Ayaka, right?
Kazuha, Ayaka.
Okay, so you just...
Would you be willing to be the
using her
models
for
for
that
my
one.
paintings?
Interesting.
I would be delighted.
Wait, what does Sumi mean then? Sumi... Is it just blue? Or
Yes, as would I.
There you go. The next 2 portraits should be ready in no time.
Yes. And now that all 4 stories have all been collected, the story of the 5 Kasen is now fully completed.
True, but who is Shiro? There's a 5th portrait to do, isn't there?
Long ago, Inazuma had 5 legendary poets. People bestowed upon them the title of the 5 Kasen.
One year, the poet Suiko made his way to Tenshukaku and presented the Kasen's work for the shogun's perusal. But a page from the works of Aoi no Okina had been torn out, and Suiko was questioned regarding the matter. Suiko pleaded guilty. He admitted to drinking at the tavern the night before, and vaguely recalled a mysterious figure approaching while he was intoxicated.
That figure was none other than Aoi no Okina himself. This turn of events had begun with an unnamed individual, under whose coercion, Aoi no Okina was forced to take drastic measures to retrieve a page of poetry. He knew nothing of this individual's true intentions. All he knew was that the poem had to do with an old acquaintance, Akahito.
Akahito had once belonged to the 5 Kasen. Each poem he composed, he marked with a scarlet red seal, hence the Aka in his name. Such a distinguished writer was he, and yet one of the poems he had submitted the previous year was found to be plagiarized. Akahito was exiled for his crimes, and only 4 of the 5 Kasen remained.
Sumizome went over Akihito's poems and noticed that the plagiarized poem lacked his seal. She immersed his poetry in a stream nearby, and only on the plagiarized poem did the ink run. Aoi no Okina passed by and witnessed Sumizome's doing, which he then recorded in a poem. Thus transpired the events of Suiko's poetry submission, and this is where the story comes to an end.
Okay, nice. Oh, I wish we would keep these. Like in our teapots.
Yeah. Ever since we completed the story of the 5 Kasen, there's still one thing Paimon hasn't been able to figure out. One of the 5 Kasen is called Kuranushi, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that, how could the story of the 5 Kasen finish without him appearing at all?
Oh! Have you really not noticed?
Huh? Not noticed what? This is no time to be playing games, Tone Deaf Bard!
What he means is that the story of Kuronushi was already embedded within the 4 poems.
Huh? Really?
That's right. The key lies in the poem that Aoi no Okina wrote after seeing Sumizome rinsing the poetry collection. An average person could never understand the scene of a young girl washing Akahito's poetry collection in a stream. Even Aoi no Okina couldn't figure out the meaning behind Sumizome's actions. He was simply reminiscing and thinking about his old acquaintances. However, for the perpetrator who framed Akahito, it was completely obvious. He was worried that if this poem was seen by the Shogun, then the Shogun could discover the truth behind the plagiarism incident. If that happened, then he'd be finished. So, in desperation, he threatened Aoi no Okina to make him tear out this poem.
Right.
Which means, the one who threatened Aoi no Okina is the same person that framed Akahito! What? Kuranushi?
That's right. Though there are only 4 poems, they still managed to tell the complete story of all 5 Kasen. Since the Shogun mentioned in the poems is certainly not the one of the 5 Kasen, the only character left is the mysterious one with an unknown identity.
Oh, okay. Paimon is finally starting to get it now.
However, this also brings something else to mind. The story of the 5 Kasen has more or less reflected everything that's been happening around us lately. Which begs the question, is there a Kuronushi in our world as well?
Kind of funny that he's the one telling the story this time.
A Kuranushi? In our world?
Speaking of which, I wonder if our dear Kazuha has come up with anything.
Oh, right! Kazuha! He's been pretty quiet this whole time. Let's ask him!
So 1, 2, 3, 4, and there should be one more. Yes, this one's blank.
Hey, Kazuha! Are you okay? You've been standing in front of this blank canvas for a while, and you don't look so good.
Apologies for making a wild assumption, but has the story of the 5 Kasen reminded you of anything?
Yes. A few things did come to mind, actually. However, they were nothing more than some past incidents regarding my family. I don't mind sharing the stories, but I'd prefer not to bring you any more trouble.
Interesting.
Hey, we're all friends here, Kazuha. You can always tell us whatever's on your mind.
Kaidehara, please forgive my assumption, but perhaps you were thinking of the Raiden Gokuden?
That's a new name.
The Raiden Gokuden? What's that?
It appears that Miss Kamisato and I were thinking of the same thing. But it also has much to do with the Yashiro Commission. It would be improper to speak of it here without the consent of Miss Kamisato.
It's fine. Those of us here are all trustworthy, so there isn't any harm in it. However, this matter is somewhat complicated and may be difficult to explain. Let me start with the Raiden Gokuden.
That's one of the downsides of having excellent cutscenes like the one they had just now with the rendered scene, is that you notice these ones, the in-game ones. They don't look as good anymore.
As you all know, the Yashiro Commission's primary purpose is managing ceremonial and cultural affairs, and Inazuma's art of forging swords is a very important part of our culture. The Raiden Gokuden were once the top 5 schools of the forging art in Inazuma. Although these families were swordsmiths by craft, they also held many important positions in the Yashiro Commission. Unfortunately, of the 5, only the Aminoma art still maintains its artisan lineage. The descendants of the Ishin art are also still alive, but the craft has been lost to time.
Huh. Okay, it's lore right there.
The descendants of the Ishin art are none other than the Kaidehara family.
Oh, that makes sense. They were the shoguns for blacksmiths, basically. They forged for her, or for the previous shoguns. No, wait, there are no previous. For her, yeah. Interesting.
Whoa! We knew Kazuha came from a noble family, but we had no idea about his connection to the Yashiro Commission and sword making.
That means his family actually forged the Raiden Shogun's sword, the one she uses. You know which one. Huh. That's some interesting knowledge right there.
Yes, but that's all part of the past now. The Ishin art was lost with my great-grandfather's generation. My grandfather was dissatisfied with my great-grandfather's lack of effort. When he was young, my grandfather traveled all over Teyvat to find a way to revive the family business. But it was to no avail. And in my generation, our last remaining family property was lost as well.
A sword, probably, yeah.
I heard my elder brother mention that the decline of the Raiden Gokuden happened very rapidly. In the span of a few decades, 3 of the families suffered various misfortunes and disappeared completely. Later, there was speculation that all of these misfortunes stemmed from some background machinations, meaning that someone wanted to wipe out the Raiden Gokuden. However, since not every family of the Raiden Gokuden came to ruin, such explanations were treated as nothing more than a conspiracy theory.
Indeed. I've also believed such ideas were just theories and rumors. However, I know that a major incident happened to my great-grandfather when he was young.
Something that made him not want to continue the business?
Not only did it affect the Kaedehara clan, but it nearly jeopardized the Kamisato clan's position in the Yashiro Commission as well. After reading the story of the 5 Kasen, I can't help but feel like it's pointing me toward the truth behind that incident.
What exactly happened to your great-grandfather, Kazuha?
I still can't say. I need to speak with someone to verify the details. Let's meet here again at noon tomorrow.
The funny thing is, there are actually a couple people who would have been alive at the time, so he can get like eyewitness accounts and stuff like that.
I will tell you everything I know then.
I wonder who he's gonna talk to. Ah, so that's the next day's story. Yes. Ooh. Okay. Oh, that's not done yet. Okay. It just shows me these. Alright. However, some of these should be done. But I think that was the reward for finishing the main quest right there. Yeah. We already got these. Oh, there's a crown at the end. Nice. And we have a... Huh. Oh, we do get the paintings. Excellent. Okay. This one's not shown. Why is this one not shown? Maybe it appears later on because it doesn't want to spoil the final painting. I hope so. Can't just be blank. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one. Yeah. Excellent. So we do get to keep them. Nice. I get to. I was saying earlier that I hoped we could. What is that? That's cute. Okay. And this one? No idea. Alright, so let's go do some of these.